Rylee, the team was on the road last weekend during Thanksgiving weekend. Split, played really close against Shadron, but came out with the win. Let's start with that game. There's been a couple of close games this year, and you were able to come out with the win. Talk about the end of that game and really understanding now the team coming together in order to make that happen.
I think we're still working on that, a little bit of team chemistry and trying to finish those close games. But we're working together and it's coming together, and it'll take some time. But I think as the season progresses, we're going to get a lot better, and we'll get that team chemistry going on the court more, and we'll be able to finish those games a lot easier. And I think that the more we play together, because people are playing such different positions right now, it'll definitely come together as we just get more time on the court.
And then a tough matchup against the Hard Rockers in South Dakota. But I bet the team learned some things. What are some of the takeaways that you took as a veteran leader, and maybe some of the things that you noticed with the younger players as well?
With the younger players, I think it's just experience, and that'll come when you're young. It takes a while. I learned that the hard way too. But I think that as our season progresses, it's going to be definitely a challenge with our different matchups and stuff. But I think one thing we learned from our last game is that we have to go out, and no matter what our matchups are, we're going to have to learn to play as hard as we can at all times and just be ready to go from the time the game starts and all throughout the game. And I think we learned that our offense, when it's not, the shots aren't falling, we're going to have to find different ways to score and different ways to make plays, like getting rebounds and making those little plays.
And that's such a good point. That's always an interesting thing that a team figures out. And sometimes it's an individual player that's able to go out onto the floor, and sometimes it's multiple players that are able to do that. What are you seeing from your team right now?
Well, our team right now, it's actually interesting, but I like our team because we have a bunch of different people that can score, and the fact that people do have to play so many roles is actually a good thing because they're learning that they can actually do so many different things, and I think it's just the beginning for us.
So heading into conference, you've been 2 years in the GNAC and you've played a lot of minutes. So you're certainly going to be able to bring some of your experience to the players who haven't seen it before, even in your transfer who hasn't seen GNAC play. What are some of the things you're talking to the players this week about?
Well, I think it's a lot different because we are in conference play, and it takes a while to kind of get into it and realize what that means. But I think as long as our team knows that we just have to go out there and play our best and do what we're told to, follow our scouting report and do the stuff that we know how to do, then I think we'll be fine.
And how do you feel about opening on the road against these two teams? I know it's never easy in a conference game, especially when you're not at home.
Well, I think any away game is challenging, so if we can get 2 wins on the road, it's good no matter how we get it. So we'll just do our best and see how it goes from there.
I know your coach has talked a lot about consistency. How are you working on that? How is the team adjusting in order to be more consistent on both ends of the floor?
I think it starts in practice. We have to start the little things in practice, and it has to carry over into games. But if we have consistent practices where we're going 100% and playing our best, then I think it'll carry over into games as well.
Taylor, the team's coming off a couple of games on the road. Over Thanksgiving weekend, actually got the split. Let's talk about where the team's at right now. I want to hear what your thoughts are. You had a couple of games where you weren't on the court. So going back out there with your teammates, what are some of the things that you noticed?
It's great to step back on the court again, like you said. We're in a grind right now. I think we're just really trying to work things out and really figure out our roles and figure out where everyone kind of steps in and has to play their part and stuff like that. I don't know, it's hard to, explain, but we're a team that's not going to be bigger than people. We're not going to be, able to outrun them or out-talent them by any means, but we can out-compete them for sure. So we've just been really working on being competitive, running our stuff, doing our fundamentals, anything that we need to do like that.
And we were just talking about the different roles, and you mentioned that it was kind of exciting how everybody kind of gets to pick up these different things on the court. How are you adjusting to that? How is everybody really working together in order to get stuff like that done?
I think it's very good for our team to be versatile, though. Like I said, we start dropping like flies, and then there's girls that are having to pick up different roles and different positions. But as long as we go in there and do it 100% as hard as we can and just try our best, I think that's all we can really ask for. So. So.
And that's going to be a good quality as you head into the conference season this week on the road, another couple of games on the road. But I bet getting some of the different looks that you are right now and people are having to step up is going to make you more focused on the court.
For sure. Yeah, I think the experience too. A lot of those younger girls are getting to step in. Even me, like I didn't even think, I'd really be in the position that I am this year. But being able to step in and fill those positions and fill those roles, it's really important, I think, and it'll be great for us in the long run. So.
And besides the fundamentals, what are some of the things that you are focused on this week as you head into the GNAC season?
I'd say just executing, doing everything perfect and trying to do it near to perfect. Like setting good screens, we have been, just pounding the fundamentals this week and just pounding the defense and containing and no penetration, stuff like that, close out on shooters. Just the main things that, you can always, like I said, you can always outcompete people, but you might not out-talent them or outrun them, but you can always outcompete them. So we've just really been competitive this week. So.
And I know one of the things that the team will be working on as well is consistency, putting that complete game together.
Yes.
You had it against Cal Poly Pomona, and last week I know the team struggled either on one end or the other. So let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on being more consistent as you head into the conference season?
I agree. I think consistency is going to be huge throughout our conference. I'm waiting, and I think we all are, just for that one complete game, because I think once we have it, it's just going to set us up for the rest of the season and stuff. And once we get that confidence of, knowing that we can do this as a team and we got it, will be really helpful. But I think, yeah, like you said, the consistency. So just, not having a great offensive game, but also a great defensive game and blocking out, doing the little things that we know we can do. It's just mentally locking down, focusing, and getting them done.
So, Coach, coming off a split with the team last week, Thanksgiving week, talk about the two opponents that you played and what are some of the takeaways that you have?
Well, we had two tough games on the road at Chadron and at South Dakota Mines, and we ended up with a split. We won a close game on Friday against Chadron, and then Saturday we did not come very close to South Dakota Mines. They played a very good game. Overall, I think we're getting better, but it'll be interesting to see how we step into conference play this week. But it was nice to win a close game on somebody else's court, and then but we needed to back it up the next day, and we did not. South Dakota Mines shot the ball extremely well. We did not. I think we shot 25% overall and 10% from the three, and we can't do that and win games.
So this week you'll be starting conference play on the road. I know that the team will be practicing hard since you do open not at home. What are some of the things that the team needs to do better in order to compete against the opening GNAC teams they're going to be facing?
Well, we just have to continue to adjust. We've lost some players all really at the similar positions, so at the forward spots. And so we've got some guards that are playing in the post, and we've had to change, our offensive philosophy somewhat early in the season. And that just takes a little bit of time. We have a lot of inexperienced players that are going to gain experience. So I'm very optimistic that we will get that figured out. We need to play more consistent. We've had moments over the last couple of weeks where we've played very well, and then we've had moments where we don't, and we need to get more consistency, and I think that does take time, but unfortunately, we have these two games conference play right now, so I'm interested to see how we respond from our defeat on Saturday and to go on the road for two GNAC games.
Definitely you're getting some good leadership out of your lone senior, Tiana Hansen, and your other captain, and Rylee Kane. They've put some good time on the floor, but they've also been rallying points for the team. Yeah,
those two have done a good job this year. They've been consistent. They've had to up their role, which they have. Now the key is part of being a great leader is also inspiring and bringing people up around you. So we have to continue to do that. If we can get some good performances from some of our younger players game after game. Right now, one of them will be play well, and then they'll struggle, and they just need to become more consistent on both ends of the floor.
And one of the things that I know you've mentioned before is being aggressive, especially on both ends of the court. Don't just do it on one side or the other.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Defensively, we need to be better on the boards. We're not very big anymore, so we have to definitely get contact. We have times where we played well on defense, but other times we foul too much. We have to adjust to the flow of the game. And offensively, we've had 4 close games now, and the last 2 times we've been in close games, we've finished, and I'm pleased with that. But I think that we're going to find ourselves in a lot of close games this year. So how we can end games will have a lot to do with our success.
And what are some of the things that the players who've been there before are going to be able to provide, especially in these opening games against the tough GNAC opponents?
Defensive consistency. I mean, we have to win matchups on the floor consistently in order to compete in this league. So our returners, they have to do a good job of that. They have to be focused in. They have to be able to stay out of foul trouble. Our depth is suspect right now. And then again, whether it's through inspiration or accountability, etc., but bring our young players along. But at the same time, we want them to continue to get better. They can't be young forever. They're not going to be freshmen all year. The freshmen and sophomores that are playing a lot, they have to mature quicker.